Hey everybody. Well, look at this match this morning. So I had a tweet that quite a few people replied to yesterday. And so I thought I would talk about it quick. I said I almost always mock up web ideas using inspect element and editing HTML elements in the browser. And yesterday I had spent all this time editing this page, mocking up this idea, and I accidentally clicked a link which refreshed the page. And lots of folks said, Brian Gardner, I'm glad I'm not the only one this happens to. Ouch, felt this. Yes, I've been in the same boat. Simon, so many times I've just hit Command R forgetting it won't persist. Lots of folks feel the pain. And then of course, some people had some suggestions on Blue Sky as well. There was somebody who said you can track in Firefox. So there's a changes tab you can copy from. But, and then also some folks said you can do this in Chrome. There's these, the ability to track your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript changes. But when you dig into it, it's actually not awesome. You have to edit in sources. And usually I'm inspecting in the Elements tab in DevTools. And sources is not as, it's just not as fun. It's not as intuitive. And then Derek here at the end said, why not work on a local HTML file and hit refresh on your browser as you make edits? And then I got this GIF here. So of course, that's probably the right answer, but I think it ignores all of the folks who enjoy editing in DevTools and are doing this all the time. And it's just so easy to just inspect and then you're in and editing, and it really flows nicely as opposed to saving a copy of your HTML file and then having to and then editing it that way. But I'm going to try that right now. And let me just make sure I've got this. There we go. Okay. So let's, oh, and I should also mention that, yeah, I briefly looked at these solutions here where you could map DevTools to disk, but again, there was some downsides that made it not great. One of which is, many of these options only save your CSS changes, but I'm editing HTML as well. And you have to edit in the sources panel as opposed to the elements panel, which for me doesn't work. I think my friend Jared Drysdale actually tried to make a Chrome extension that solved this problem. I would love to see someone try again because I think there's a lot of opportunity here for, yeah, someone to do something cool that that actually works the way we want it to work, which is kind of like, you know, just imagine like, you know, maybe how, like a version of like Git that just running in inspect elements, saving all your changes as you go along. So that you don't lose it if you click refresh. Okay, so I'm just going to set up, and actually maybe I'll just show you quick what I normally would do. So this is the page I was editing, and what I would do is, oh, I'm going to move this over here. What I would do is in the Elements tab here. Oh man, I've got a lot of other things open here. Okay. This is how I'm editing a lot of this stuff, as I'm browsing through the different elements, and then in this case, I'm mocking up a page that has nothing to do with this at all. I'm thinking about how to start a podcast. Oh, where did I do that? Oh, there it is. To start a podcast. So I was thinking about ideas for improving this, the existing blog post we have, and editing it this way is just, Josh had been working on some of these feature ideas, and I was like, oh, this kind of works for what I'm thinking for this new page I want to build. And so I was just starting to, browse through things and delete elements, and then started to edit these individual boxes. And this is where I got into trouble, is because I had quite a bit done, and then I deleted everything. So what I've done instead is I've saved it and as an HTML file, and I'm going to edit it and then look at the changes I make there. The one thing about it that is not as fun is that when you're inspecting element, you can just browse in your browser and kind of find the elements, but here I'm going to have to edit the code. I'm going to have to find it just in the code, and that's not as ideal. So yeah, let me actually refresh this. So even everything. If anybody knows of a way of editing visually the way I was in Inspect Element, that would be a lot better than me having to do it this way. How to start a podcast. And actually now I'm seeing the other disadvantage of this approach is it's just a lot faster to, when you're inspecting element, to jump between the CSS and the I can just browse this way, delete elements like this, but then you also saw me I can easily find, there's a padding bottom here that I can remove. And here I'm going to have to open all those files, right? Yeah, I already feel like this just, for me, isn't as, this doesn't work the same as editing in the browser, having to, I guess I could just copy and paste my CSS, or just continually save as I, save the code as I go along. I guess editing HTML stuff is it's almost like I have to browse it in here, and then I find it. Okay, so it's this one. It's this one here, and then find it here, and then delete it, save, view. Whereas normally I can just, when I'm editing in the browser, I can just find that whole section and then remove it, right? So yeah, I think we've figured out why it's not the same as editing in the browser. Sure, I can save this page to disk and then open it in a text editor, but it's just not the same as being able to just open it up, inspect element, find the element quickly, and then remove it. You know, I can remove this whole section right here just by clicking delete. Done. But here I have to find it, delete it, save. Let's actually refresh this just to make sure we're all. So, yeah, not a fan of this. I would definitely pay for, and there's a few Chrome extensions out there, but honestly, they're not exactly what I was looking for. I'm really looking for something that has kind of a Git style change tracking in the browser that would allow me to just edit using DevTools without having to jump back and forth. Okay, so now I'm going to find all this. Anyway, I'm going to keep working on this way, but to just get back to all this, yeah, I think I still think there's an opportunity for a Chrome extension or for Chrome to actually just edit the way to change the way they do this, so that people can just inspect element and edit in the elements tab, not the sources tab, because it's just not as intuitive as being able to jump around and, you know, remove the sections you want with one click. Like, that change should be saved now in DevTools, in addition to me being able to edit CSS and have those changes saved as I go along. And this is a much more intuitive way of editing an existing page than opening it in a text editor and having to browse around and find these different sections. This is why I reach for this tool as opposed to a text editor. All right, talk to you folks later. Bye.